I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up.
I'm retiring from boxing. I'm getting hit in the face every single day.
Anthony Joshua didn't mock, dismiss, or downplay Jake Paul's shocking announcement. Instead, he showed respect. After Jake Paul revealed he's stepping away from boxing following a brutal knockout that left him with a broken jaw, Joshua was asked for his reaction, and the former heavyweight champion took a surprisingly supportive tone. Rather than piling on, AJ praised Jake's fighting spirit, acknowledging the courage it takes to step into the ring, especially as someone who didn't come from a traditional boxing background. Joshua made it clear that while criticism comes with the territory, earning respect in boxing starts with having the heart to try. And in his eyes, Jake Paul proved that much.
Bring it 100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years and the expectations that we put on ourselves.
Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn didn't back away from his earlier prediction, but he did strike a more serious tone after the fight. Reflecting on his remark that this bout could end Jake Paul, Hearn said the outcome sadly proved his point. He explained that injuries like a broken jaw aren't just painful. They're mentally and physically difficult to recover from, especially for a fighter still developing at the elite level. Hearn noted that time away from sparring, fear of brain injury, and loss of rhythm can permanently alter a boxer's trajectory. While he acknowledged Jake's toughness and willingness to compete, Hearn stressed that boxing is ruthless, and moments like this often force fighters to reconsider whether the risk is truly worth it.
Are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Paul's plan for the game against Anthony Joshua was built around movement, speed, and avoiding Joshua's power for as long as possible. Paul openly stated before the fight that his strategy was to use his agility and footwork, constantly circling, keeping his distance, and making Joshua chase him around the ring in hopes of frustrating the former heavyweight champ and surviving all 8 rounds. His team, and even Paul himself, said he wanted to avoid that one shot and bank on his cardio, and angles to last a distance. The idea was simple. Keep moving, frustrate Joshua, and make him miss rather than trying to engage head-on with a heavier, more experienced puncher.
Because when this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds for him?
Yeah, no, I really take my hat off. I mean, we have.
Nikisa Badirian also stepped in to defend Jake Paul, making it clear that the outcome of the fight didn't erase what actually happened in the ring. According to Nikisa, Jake executed his game plan perfectly on fight night, sticking to the strategy they worked on in camp and doing exactly what was asked of him round by round. He emphasized that boxing is unforgiving. One mistake or one clean shot can change everything. But from a tactical standpoint, Jake did what he was supposed to do, showing discipline, preparation, and growth despite the devastating result.
See, if it is a broken jaw, those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, like that last shot would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights. And I know he went down heavy, but you know he was conscious on the floor. And I thought his game plan, although obviously very negative early on, which it had to be, was smart at times. And there were times where he held his feet and let his hands go. You know, it was a very one-sided fight. It was always going to be a one-sided fight. But you can't You know, you can't give him anything but credit and respect. There's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of people who want to criticize people. They're not doing what Jake Paul's done. He just went in with Anthony Joshua and gave it his best shot. Took a lot of punishment and ended the fight eventually.
Bidarian shared his emotional response to the fight, describing herself as heartbroken but proud over the brutal knockout loss Jake Paul suffered against Anthony Joshua. He emphasized that people are now beginning to respect Paul for his effort and courage in the ring. According to Nikisa, Jake Paul gave his best performance under extraordinary pressure, facing one of the most elite heavyweights in boxing history, whose action captures a mix of sadness and admiration, reflecting the sentiment of many fans who were disappointed by the loss, but still acknowledge Paul's bravery and dedication.
The game plan from both guys from round one. Jake was very mobile. I mean, he had the happy feet going. He was circling around the outside of the ring. He was not looking to engage in elongated combinations. He was not looking to stand in the center of the ring with AJ. And people are going to say Jake ran from AJ. And you're right. Because guess why? He absolutely had to. Again, we talked about this in the build-up to the fight. He had to be mobile. He had to be on his bike. So yes, you're justified in saying Jake ran from him because he had to. He had to. And anybody that convinced themselves that Jake was going to walk to the center of the ring, stand in the phone booth with AJ and trade punches until someone laid flat, you were lying to yourself, or you convinced yourself of something you saw in the promo. This was always going to be the way the fight went. I wasn't surprised at all that this is the way that Jake started and pretty much fought the entire time. I was a bit surprised that AJ didn't assert himself earlier. Now, again, it is very hard to hurt someone that doesn't want to engage in a continuous fight. Round one, very much a feeling out process for AJ. Didn't really look like he did much, but Jake didn't either. There was one right hand that AJ landed in the first round that shook Jake up. That's the danger that was coming for Jake the entirety of the fight. The second and third rounds were pretty much the same, a bit of a mixed bag in terms of Jake tried to get on his jab more. He did land some jabs that snapped the head back of AJ and landed some right hands, but this was all calculated risk for AJ as well because he knew as long as he turned that faucet on and let the water run and let it fill up the sink and never turned the faucet off, that eventually he would drown Jake, right? So every round it was pressure, front foot, front foot, front foot, and AJ strategically breaking down Jake's gas tank. I will say I'm pretty let down by the fact that AJ didn't cut the ring. I was shocked that he didn't go to the body more. I was shocked that he didn't set up his punches more, didn't get his head off the center line more. It was not a great performance from AJ, but at the same time, AJ had just come off a loss. AJ had just come off surgery. I'm not making excuses, but it was...